Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business after hours. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Business After Hours. Today we have two special guests, Adam and Joshua. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful. Thanks for having us on.
Very,
Yeah,
very
my pleasure.
good. Dig your intro.
No, I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we try hard, right? We want to have fun with this podcast. So guys, why don't you go ahead and tell me like a little bit about y'all and how y'all connected and what y'all are doing now.
Yeah. Name is Adam Zek, CEO, co-founder of MyStandard. Been in talent acquisition my entire career, basically, after I got out of college. And honestly, I thought it would be like a 1 minute thing, and it's turned into like I don't know how long it's been, 15-year thing or 16-year thing. Um, so yeah, I've been blockchain full time for 7 years as well. And we just kind of saw an opportunity to do something that no one's ever done before. And I met Josh, and we jumped into it.
Josh Glut, COO, co-founder of MyStandard. Yeah, Adam and I have been working on this project for about 4 years. My background is TA and recruiting, predominantly on both the agency and corporate side. I've built talent acquisition functions from the ground up, done everything in search from, contingency-based administrative search to retained C-level search. And, what we're trying to create is a product that both users and clients would use that is better than the current structure that is set up for all recruiting. And we think it needs a big overhaul. And we think our product kind of enables that.
Awesome. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your project, which I believe is My Standard, and tell me why you think y'all's is better than the rest of them.
Cool. So I'll first kind of describe what we're doing here. So the product, if you're in the United States right now, you can download the app on the Android or App Store. It takes 5 to 8 minutes to sign up, put in all of your professional history and information in there. And the nice thing is in this structure, you are not giving MyStandard all your information. So when you sign up for LinkedIn today, you're giving them all your information. Same with Career Builder, staffing firms, whoever. You're just giving them your information, and then they get to decide what happens with it. On MyStandard, 5 to 8 minutes, and you are actually giving yourself your information. You're essentially creating a profile for yourself that only you have access to, that only you have the keys for, which is very different than how the current structure of like Web 2 recruiting is. We're a Web 3 company because we wanted people to own their data. That's like a big principle in Web 3, to own something, to own your financial health or your digital self or own your Bitcoin or whatever it might be. For us, it's own your data. And when you set up in MyStandard, you are the only person who can permission your data to be shared with the company when you're a fit for their job. And if you choose to share your information with that company, you will get paid for it, as opposed to a company coming in and paying a LinkedIn license that then pays LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is making money off of your data for access to your data for one of their clients. We kind of flip the script on the whole thing, and we align with our people. So, like, we want you to make money on the platform, and 80% of the value of that comes through on MyStandard gets passed through our token to our users. So users are going to be getting this like a trickle of earning opportunities that they normally are just being passed up on because that money goes to LinkedIn or a middleman. And in MyStandard, you control your destiny. And it's the whole platform runs out of notifications. So once you're set up, you're going to receive a notification when there's a reward. You're going to receive a notification when there's a job opportunity. And other than that, you don't have to use the app. Just like set it and forget it. And then we'll let you know when there's something you should pay attention to.
Sorry. So when you're talking about paying attention to, like, how does like a business find your data, or find you in the circle of fish, so to speak?
So you mean how does a client use the tool? Where do they?
Like why would a bit, or how does a business like want to pick that file or pick your data out of
So
all the others?
right. So what with our structure, what they do is they sign up. They sign up for a certain amount of data searches, which has $1 of value equivalent to it. Let's say $10,000. Okay. For that $10,000, that is equivalent to X amount of searches that they want to perform in our system. So what they do is they go on the desktop app, they put in the criteria that they are looking for. Let's just say they need a software engineer in New York who makes $150,000 a year, is willing to travel, is open to remote, any set of criteria. Once they're through filling out the form, they'll get a number at the bottom that says these are how many people match this criteria in the MyStandard system. Again, since it's on the blockchain and it's Web3, you don't get to see anything about these people. It's completely blind. You only know that they are minimally qualified based on the criteria you've created. Once they've got that locked up, they say, yes, would you like to reach out to these 50 or so people? They hit send. Those 50 people who they've reached out to get a notification on their phone that they're one of these people. You won't get any notification unless you appear in a search, right? Again, this is all blind. It's all behind an encrypted wall. The company then, the amount of data searches that it costs them to make this comes out of their account and goes against that 10 grand. Okay. Once the candidate receives the option to say yes or no to this particular company, they have the choice. And if they say no, and they're not interested in IBM, let's just say, they say no, they swipe left, they don't receive any money for it, but they also don't share that information with the company. So company never gets to know them or anything about them until they permissioned it, right? Until they've given that choice. They've given that away. They receive their tokens, company receives their data. Now company can see everything about this person's profile. The value proposition for both sides there is now everybody has something at stake, right? To Adam's earlier point, with LinkedIn or any of the other services, you're giving your data away for free. It's a subscription-based model. The company really has nothing at stake individually. It's basically a Tinderization of recruiting, right? Swipe left. I don't like their picture. I don't like their name. I don't like where they're from. I don't like the company they work for. I don't like what school they went to. There's a million reasons why the average recruiter spends about 5 seconds on a profile and 90% of the time disqualifies them. They just don't have anything at stake. And usually the reason they disqualify them has absolutely nothing to do with their criteria of their ability to do that job that they're applying for or that they're looking for, right? It's always some other factor, some other judgment, or some other bias. Since our structure is set up for them to actually pay the candidate for that data before they see anything about them, the chance of bias goes down because as you know, just in general in life, when you pay for something, you treat it differently than when you're given it for free.
Absolutely.
So that's why the model works. And that's the differentiator between anything that's out there currently. Right? There's nothing currently at stake on either side. There's no reason why you should apply to a job other than you're hoping somebody likes your resume. And there's no reason for a company to look at your profile unless they absolutely think you're perfect before they've even talked to you. Now you've created a financial stake for both sides. So everyone's going to treat the process a little bit differently. As a candidate, think about it, how you're going to feel differently about that company. This company just paid me $5, $10, $20 to get my information. You're going to treat them with a different level of respect as well.
So, yeah, I have two, I guess, questions. So, first one is, can you explain like what blockchain is and Web3 to somebody that doesn't really understand that terminology? And then the other question that I had was, does it cost the applicant to be on your platform?
Yeah, so it doesn't cost candidates to join the platform. So it's completely free. It's all found money. We're going to be sending out rewards and network testing things like that's free money. We're going to be having obviously even jobs when companies come through and look at your profile or ask you for your information, that's found money. And then there's going to be all these other use cases outside of talent acquisition that we're going to be rolling out for hobbies and interests or medical records and all these other things that are about you. And you'll be able to store more and more information about yourself. That's going to create more and more earning opportunities. It's all found money. And so that's the first, answer your second question first.
Thank you.
Your first question, though, so the average user does not need to be a Web3 or blockchain expert to use our app at all. We abstract everything. So it's basically like you have to think of crypto and blockchain as like the software that makes this work. It embodies the principle that you're allowed to actually own your data. It's like you're giving it to us and just hoping that we're good stewards of your data. You actually are the only key holder of your data. The way we architected this, your information isn't sitting on our server and then we just let you share it. It's actually sitting on a decentralized platform where we don't even have access to it. It's like that's how much care we put into allowing our users to make sure that they know that they are the ones who own their information, or they're not just like hoping that we're good stewards of it. The whole idea of Web3 and crypto is that instead of your information sitting in a single place, it's decentralized. So it's kind of scattered around the world. Your information is encrypted and scattered around various, they call them nodes, and the nodes kind of pass around the information and validate the information on the network. But it isn't sitting in a single repository today. If you have ever seen of like your information is now leaked on this database, your email has been leaked, or I think even like Equifax was hacked. That's because all the information for everyone is in a database that they owned that was sitting on a single server, and all the data was in one place. So when a hacker got in, they were able to extract a lot of information before they were able to lock that down. If someone hacked the MyStandard database today, they wouldn't get anything because there's no information there on our candidates. The candidate information is with the candidates. So they'd actually have to hack every single person's individual phone and MyStandard account in order to hack information on us. So like by building in Web3, embodying the principles of Web3, it's like you're the owner of this, we're not the owner of this, allows us to build something that's highly secure and really puts our users like data at care. I think there's so many decisions that we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks that we put like time, effort, capital into to design that are in the best interests of you, the user. And you'll be hearing about more of those as we kind of market ourselves.
That's great. And I can see the value in it as definitely as a applicant, and as a business owner. I could see both sides how it benefits them. Now I was looking over your website before you all jumped on, and I saw the tokenomics. Can y'all explain that for somebody that clicks on that and sees that Excel sheet?
Yeah. Tokenomics is not something for if you're not a crypto person, you don't need to care about it. But if you're curious what tokenomics are, it's essentially the way that the token is distributed over time and the reasons why the token is distributed. The token allows for various actions within the platform, incentives, rewards, for both companies and for people. And over time, more and more and more of the tokens are going to be kind of like finding the market and also being taken off the market for various mechanisms. And the tokenomics sheet kind of outlines like this is the general plan of how that's looking to happen over the next like 10 to 15 years. And it's going to change a little bit here and there. But for the most part, that's kind of what defines like a tokenomics plan.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that because I was definitely trying to read that and figure out what that all was.
Jared, I appreciate your intellectual curiosity because a lot of people,
absolutely.
Just so you know, and to Adam's point, love when people do that, but that is no one has to download the app, to use the app. Both sides, it's not necessary to understand it.
No, I appreciate. Yeah, thanks. I'm a curious person, so I'm always clicking on everything, trying to figure out. So, what's your guys' struggle coming into the new year? Like, what do you guys finding pain points are?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. I mean, one, we're trying to do a lot of different things. So, like, the app is a talent acquisition app. It's actually going to become even stronger because we're going to be doing like credentialing on there, university degrees, like things like that, like things that define you. Like all aspects of data that define who you are as a person, we want to get into the app. We want it to eventually kind of be like a black hole for like we're just bringing in more and more data on you so that you can easily prove things about you. So like creating that credentialing app, I think is one of our near term goals, so that wherever you went to school can go into the app, their own app, and type in your MyStandard ID, your email, and mint a proof that you went there. And then if I'm standing in front of you and I say, yeah, I went to Harvard, you don't have to take my word for it. I can show you the seal from Harvard on my app that they actually minted that to my app, so that you can actually prove things about yourself in person. Because right now it's kind of weird. Like I can ask you where you went, you can say whatever you want. I just have to take your word for it. Even on LinkedIn, you can put whatever you want. There's no validation for this stuff. So the only way to actually validate it is for me to call Harvard, have them pick up the phone and give me your information over the phone. Cost them time and money to do that, right? So they need an outlet for this. So that's going to be our next big foray. There's also a whole mix we're doing with AI. So like it's just like trying to, and we're going to be expanding internationally. And so like you start looking at all these things we want to do, and it's like prioritizing which ones we want to do first, the order of operations, because we don't have unlimited resources and unlimited team to do it. So like planning out all these things that are all very important and impactful is, I think, one of the things that kind of keeps me up at night. I'm sure Josh and I are focused on different things within the business, so Josh can maybe give his perspective.
Yeah, the thing that keeps me up at night is adoption, and what I mean by that is we've been, I've had multiple conversations with people who are very well-meaning and very smart that have basically said, "Why do I care? Right? I've been giving this away for free. What does it hurt me?" And then I have to do an explainer as to how much it hurts them and why basically the market has convinced them that this is okay, and it isn't. Right? Our data is abused on a daily basis. I'll give you an example. We're doing a big foray into the trucking industry because it's one of the more abused industries in terms of data and also in terms of knowledge about value proposition. Mm-hmm. Truckers, if they go and they apply for a job on Indeed for one job, the next week they are inundated with phone calls and emails and texts from every trucking company, every recruiting company that services truckers. Why? Because Indeed has sold their data to all these people and all these places, right? And that's just one example. We have been trained over the last 20 years that giving it away is okay and acceptable because you get some access to their database or something. That's where the market has to change. And that's the biggest concern I have is once we convince people that there is value proposition for them and the owners of the data, and once they start making money on that data, it becomes a much easier sell. Because the first time you get paid for your data, you're never going back to giving it away for free. That is just simple fact. So that's the thing that is getting past a critical mass of point where we have 10, 20, 50,000 users on the app that are getting paid on a daily basis for their data. I think at that point, people will start to see the value proposition for themselves and adoption will have been completed.
Why has it been such a struggle to get users to want to adopt this? To me, it's like it should be a no-brainer, like money, and I'm doing application. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. It's the devil premise. It's just the way it's always been done. A lot of times people will stay in a job. If we're speaking about recruiting and talent acquisition, they'll stay in a job because it's just too complicated to leave the job. Because it's too complicated to find a new job, right? Or what if the next job they go to is worse than this job, right? It's just human nature, which is comfort level, even if that comfort level isn't to your advantage. So absolutely. when you're putting forward a new paradigm and a new concept, it always takes time for that adoption to occur, for people to buy into it, for people to say, yeah, this is better than what I had. But once that switch is made, there's absolutely no doubt that they're going to stay with that because for all the reasons we just discussed, right? If you knew you could pay for your dinner with your friends because you just appeared in 3 or 4 searches and got money for that, and that meal became essentially free.
Yep.
Why would you ever go back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, we just launched at the end of last year. So we just kind of got going, I guess like end of November is when our full apps came out on the app stores. So this is all
2024?
Yeah. So this is all just happening real time. It took a long time to build the software, build up the team, go through some of the challenges that I mentioned earlier, like how we care for user data in a very specific way. It took time to architect, and so it just got launched. So I don't know the current number of users on the platform, but like we're doing we haven't started marketing yet because we're still like in that early phase. We just got our first clients onboarded. Like things are happening real time now. We just launched our token at the December 19th, I think. So yeah. So that's one of the reasons. Like, I don't know if we've necessarily seen trouble of getting users on the platform. I just think we haven't put in that effort to really scale yet.
No, that's fair.
And then soon we will. And then we'll see. Maybe it will be trouble. I'm not saying it won't be, but I tend to think like you. Like it seems like an obvious thing to do. Found money, sign up 5 to 8 minutes. Find jobs. If I'm a fit for a job, I'll get a notification about it. Like doesn't seem like I can't imagine people are against that. But we haven't really pushed on the marketing side yet.
See the going away from the norm, because obviously I think that's, like you said, human nature. So I could see that. Is there, like, have you seen, and being so new, I understand, like, have you started to see like an industry that's a little bit more stronger in the app lately, or
Not yet, but
Not
that's
yet.
why we brought on a business development advisor on the trucking and logistics side, because he found us and said this is like the dream solution for truckers for the reasons
Yeah.
Josh stated. So we're going to really jump at that industry first, and then we'll probably see a lot of Web3 and technology people come over just because of the nature of the app and where we're building it in. And then after that, we're going to kind of see, depends on where the clients come, where the jobs are, what kind of partners we have supporting us, and everything that goes from there.
From continuing down that line, from an industry perspective, what I'm finding just in investigating is any industry that has a very large disparity between the amount of people that are available and the amount of jobs that are open is a perfect fit for MyStandard. Trucking is one. I talked to another gentleman the other day he recruits veterinarians. Okay. Same exact problem. For every veterinarian, there's 25 jobs that are open.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime there's that, and these people aren't necessarily on LinkedIn, they aren't necessarily on Indeed, right? They are on specialty job boards that focus on their particular area that aren't apparently, from what I've been told, aren't very good. That's where we can kind of really excel. Those are the industries we can really take advantage of because we provide a very captive audience for the needs for that client. And we provide for the candidates an opportunity to pick and choose the things that they want to respond to.
Yeah, I think healthcare would be a strong one.
Nursing,
Like
great example.
yeah, I mean when they have traveling and all of that for all the various healthcare roles. So yeah, so with being newly launched, I don't think people honestly realize how long it takes to get from day one of getting started to building that app
Yeah.
to launching. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, 0 to 1 is the hardest part of any build, and I don't think it's actually like 0 to 0.95% of the way there is that last 5% of getting like fully launched and the testing, the user testing, finding bugs, investigating the bugs, all that stuff. It really it's a chore. It's a lot, but now you understand what you've built really well. You understand how it works and how it operates, and it makes it easier to iterate and change it on top of it. But yeah, you have to fall in love with your product if you're going to do this, because I don't know how many days, probably hundreds of nights where our devs are in Romania. So I'm like up at 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. with our devs, 4 days a week, like that kind of, like, you have to love it to really, you have to love the process. You have to love what you're making. You have to have full conviction to do that sort of like, sacrifice. I got 3 kids, like they're up at 7 a.m. Got to get them to school. I'm on 3 hours of sleep. Like I was not sleeping for like a good solid 2 years to make this thing work the way it needs to. And that's just part of the gig. Like it makes you like really have like that full conviction that what we're making is going to like be used and people will enjoy it. Labor of love. And my fourth child.
Jared, you see this?
Yes.
Great.
I got that too.
See this?
I got bowling.
Yeah, that's what 4 years of a startup gets you. Like to Adam's point, you make sacrifices. We both had very stable careers in our particular areas of expertise, and there's no reason in the world why I couldn't be the head of talent acquisition at company X, or Adam couldn't be the head of sales at company Y. But you kind of make those sacrifices because you want to build your own thing and do something special. And I personally love it. I was on, to Adam's earlier point, I was on the Chad and Cheese podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a human resources focused podcast.
Okay.
And they asked barrage of questions and had sound effects and right, like, and not everybody gets it, and to be perfectly honest, I like it when people don't get it, because that means they're actually doing something right. Because if it's something you've heard of before, it's already been done, right?
Just another copy, right?
It's just another mousetrap, right? I can say with confidence that what we've built has never been seen, and that's going to take people a minute to understand. It's going to have its doubters and haters and questioners, but that's how you get to innovation, is making something brand new. And then, at first they, what's the old adage? At first they laugh at you and then they embrace you, right? Like you got to
break the system first, right?
100%. You have to go against the
That's
grain, and you have to
Mhm.
challenge yourself to create something that's never been created, and all the pitfalls that are associated with that, in order to get to the other side, where it becomes what I eventually envision is this becomes so ubiquitous and so part of the culture of our country that people say, I can't believe this didn't exist before.
Right.
That it's
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
that it's such a part of who we are and the way we do business, especially all around data and privacy and data ownership in general, that people can't believe that they were giving it away for free for so long.
Oh, that's great. So it's about that time. We're going to be wrapping it up here. If y'all want to go ahead and each kind of pitch a plug for the my standards, and then we'll call it a day. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do the user side, Josh. And just like go on the App Store. If you're in the U.S., sign up. You will never regret it. There's no chance. Like, it's not like we're going to sell your information to somebody else. I don't have access to it. Like, you're just going to get rewards. You're just going to get job opportunities. The more detailed your profile is, the more rewards you're going to get. So put your full work history in there. Put your skills in there. Like, just take the time. You only have to do it once, and get through the app and make a really good profile. And you're never going to regret doing that. It's going to be the thing that continues to pay dividends for you when we start rolling out more products. Like, hey, you can now store your hobbies and interests in the platform, or get your university credentialed, or whatever it might be. You're going to get rewards for doing that stuff. We don't expect people to do stuff for free. There's incentives to drive outcomes on both ends of our marketplace. We embrace that idea, and we're going to make sure that people are rewarded for taking the time to do this. And then, Josh, you take over from the recruiter side.
So, as a recruiter, this is just another arrow in your quiver. You're probably spending way too much on LinkedIn. Fact, if you have an enterprise level license, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for access to database that you are forced to do all the work on. If we can peel 5 to 10% of that spend away and bring it over to MyStandard, you're going to get 80% better results, and you're going to have a tool that is focused on exactly what you want to do, which is find the top quality candidates for your need with a controllable number, and making your hiring manager or your client much, much happier with the quality of the work.
Thanks again, guys, for being on here. I know I'm going to sign up after this, for sure.
Download the
And
app.
so I definitely will. And so everybody else, the same thing. I'm going to put all the links that y'all have to your Instagram, Twitter, your website. That will be all down below in the description, so that people can just go in there and click directly to y'all. And thanks again. I appreciate you all coming on here, taking the time, and talking about what MyStandard and how it can help us. So I appreciate that.
Awesome.
No,
Thanks so much,
thank you
Jared.
for having us. Thanks for the dialogue. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
No, absolutely. Thanks. Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business after hours.